Okay, so let's talk about the ending of Five Nights at Freddy. We saw this movie last night, and we have a review up that contains no spoilers. So if you don't want spoilers, go over there. This is full of spoilers, so definitely don't watch this video if you haven't seen the movie. It should be out on Peacock tonight, so definitely stay tuned for that. But let's talk about the new film and everything that happened, and where could we possibly go next. So before we get into it, I want to say that I think a Five Nights at Freddy movie, franchise, whatever, I don't think it was ever going to please everybody 100%. There was such a big fandom to this, and I think everybody likes different parts and aspects of it. But I think for the movie, they did a very good job at pretty much portraying everything I think that is FNAF and all of the lore, and as well as some of the personalities in here. So let's break that down first, because we had Matt Pat and we also had Corey Kenshin in this, and I think those are definitely two of the bigger YouTubers when you think of Five Nights at Freddy. Of course, there's a lot of other ones out there, but I think that they did a good job in that aspect when it comes to the online presence of it. I also think that they did a very good job for the animatronics. That is definitely something everybody's going to be talking about. Jim Henson's Creature Shop was amazing, and they really brought these to life in a way I never expected to see in a Five Nights at Freddy movie, and I think that that is something to be like a testament of how much they are really taking their time with this. Now, we don't know just yet if this is going to spawn a franchise. We have heard rumors back and forth about a trilogy and all of that, but nothing has been confirmed as of yet. I think they're waiting for the box office results to say, hey, let's move on full speed ahead onto this next movie, which I think is definitely going to be a case, because this is tracking to make over $50 million, and according to Jason Blum, the film has already made its budget and more in just selling it to the streaming service Peacock. Let's talk about what exactly this movie showed and how that ending sets up the future movies. So in this movie, we meet Mike Schmidt, who is taking care of his sister, and he's in and out of jobs. And the reason he's taking care of his sister is because his parents have tragically passed away. We also learn that when Mike was younger, he had a younger brother who was taken, and he has blamed himself for not really remembering, so he tries to remember by having like these lucid dreams. He goes back to this memory and tries to figure out little details about who was the person that took his young brother, and so we see Mike is struggling with all of this. Eventually, he has a mall security job that ends not so well, and he gets fired for attacking someone. His career counselor then tells him, I got a job for you. It's taking care of this place called Freddys Fazbears, and what you're going to do there is you're going to just be a security guard for the night, make sure nobody gets in, none of that. So we have Mike now taking on the security job, where things start to get a little creepy. He meets the animatronics there as well, after he meets with Vanessa, who is this cop that has Freddys Fazbear's in her route, as she does every night, and they sort of start to create a little bit of a bond, but she just is like, you know what, you need to leave your past behind and just move on with your life. Don't get too caught up in it. We also learn that his aunt is trying to take his sister, and his hunch is because she just wants the money from the state. The sister, of course, doesn't want to go with the aunt. She is not the best aunt. That was a pretty funny moments with her and her lawyer, especially her lawyer. He just had that face that was just like, what is going on with this man? But I really did think that this whole thing with Mike and him having to have these dreams was very interesting. That was like one of my favorite parts about the movie, and I felt like a completely different movie at times because of that. But I thought that that was a great way to incorporate William Afton into all of this, because we eventually find out that William Afton was the one who did in fact take his younger brother Greg, and we also learn the truth about who Vanessa is, being actually the daughter of William Afton. So a little bit of a change in the lore and stuff, because Vanessa is in the Five Nights at Freddy lore, if you want to count Security Breach and Help Wanted as part of that lore. So Vanessa is in that, but isn't necessarily tied like that to William Afton, but we'll talk more about that in our sequel video tomorrow, so stay tuned. But we basically learn all of this, and that was a reason we saw that Vanessa was trying to get Mike to drop all of this, because now Abby is in danger, because the animatronics, we learn, are actually inhabited by the ghosts of the kids, and we also learn some grisly details that the ghosts aren't just in the animatronics, but the kids' bodies themselves were put in there by William Afton when the kids went missing in the 80s, so the police were never able to find them, and William Afton is the one responsible as well for the disappearance of Mike's younger brother back all those years. So we know William Afton is this very despicable person, and we eventually find out that William Afton is indeed Mike's career counselor. And we see him in the Springtime Bonnie suit, which will eventually become Springtrap. And we see him there trying to kill Mike now, as the animatronics are trying to put Mike's little sister into an animatronic. However, with the help of Vanessa, we see that they are able to stop the animatronics before any of this happens. And eventually Mike and Vanessa realize that the only way they can change the animatronics from attacking them is to tell them the truth about what William Afton did to them, because they've been doing the bidding for William Afton all of these years, because he has put pictures of him being like this nice person to them and all of that. So we see Abby change the drawings, and the animatronics are able to tell from the drawings that this is the truth, because Abby draws William Afton in the Springtime Bonnie suit as killing the children. But before the animatronics are able to get a hold of William Afton, he has now stabbed Vanessa for not helping him, and we see Vanessa collapse. Seemingly, we thought she might have died here, but we'll talk about that in a bit. We then see the animatronics go over to William Afton and pretty much get him in a corner, eventually making the spring traps inside of him lock, and we see him eventually become Springtrap by the end of it, and they drag him back into the Freddy Fazbears, as we see that Vanessa and Mike and Abby are able to escape, and then we learn that Mike is now still in custody of Abby. We don't know exactly what happened to the aunt, but when the Freddy came to take Abby, it seems that they knocked her out. We don't know if she got killed, but I don't think she got killed, because they would have talked about that, right? So I think that she just got knocked out, but we see that Mike and Abby are doing better, and it seems that Mike might just be able to be the one to take care of Abby, so there won't be a need for her to go with the aunt. We see that Vanessa, however, has survived, and she is recovering, but it looks like it might be a longer recovery by the way she was tubed up and all of that. And it looks like the animatronics are holding Springtrap in the Freddy Fazbears, as Springtrap is just on the floor, seemingly just becoming more and more into Springtrap. Eventually might just die in his spirit and have it that. We don't know. But that was definitely the ending of the film. We see Corey Kenshin in the final scene with Balloon Boy, who just appeared randomly throughout the film, which was kind of funny. Really enjoyed that the end credits scene was just Balloon Boy as well. But where do we go next from here? So I think that we eventually will see Springtrap return. I will say that was one of the things I didn't like about the film, was that the climax felt too quick. I would have loved to see more of Matthew Lillard as Springtrap in this film, or maybe not put him in already, make it more of an ominous threat before we saw who it really was. I just felt it was a little bit too rushed, but now that we have Springtrap in here, it could definitely set up for some interesting stuff. And I think the whole thing with Vanessa being his daughter as well could potentially lead us into seeing Vanny, seeing how William Afton becomes this sort of virus or haunting of sorts, as we saw in the Freddy Fazbear's security breach, where we saw that Springtrap had done this and was also the whole thing with Vanny. I think we could see Vanny in the second film before we get a third film where Springtrap is like the final villain. I don't really see Springtrap returning just yet. I feel like they are working on him, and maybe we could see him in the second movie towards the end of it, and then in the third movie, full-on villain for sure. Could we see Vanessa turn as well? Maybe she gets sort of like this thing because of her dad being Springtrap, and maybe there's something of a haunting or the virus. I don't know how they could really do all of that, but I do see Vanessa not exactly being the Vanessa we know from the beginning and turning more and more. That could very much so be a big blow to Mike, which I'm pretty sure we're going to see more of Mike in the next films as well. And I think that we could set up Springtrap to be the final villain if this is indeed a trilogy, but we'll see what happens. As I said, I thought that the animatronics were great. I like how they include a lot of little Easter eggs here from Circus Baby and all of that, so we'll definitely see how this next film works. But yeah, by the end of it, they turned on Springtrap because they knew now the truth about him. He had been deceiving them and lying that he was their friend and stuff. It wasn't until Abby drew that picture that showed the truth about who William Afton was that the kids and the animatronics knew that this man was just pure evil, and they were going to not let him hurt anybody else. And that was the end of it. But let me know your thoughts and opinions on the Five Nights at Freddy movie. Was it everything you wanted and more? What would you have added? What would you have changed in the movie in itself? What do you think about Vanessa now being William Afton's daughter as well? Is that something that you think makes the story better, or would you have preferred for it to be more to the original canon and all of that? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd like to know. But as always, that's going to do it for me. We are running a giveaway. If you want to enter that giveaway, make sure you go to our Instagram, comment on the FNAF post we have for our review, and that gets you an entry into the giveaway where we will be giving a movie package that might include a FNAF poster as well. So make sure you're entering all of that. And as always, I'll see you all next time. Stay safe, stay positive.